Good morning and welcome to another Engine Talk episode. This is episode number 44. And as you can see on the table, I've got several different things here. So, I don't know, a week or so ago, I made some comment in one of my videos about if anybody ever chooses to donate anything to the channel, that I'm always in need of fuel tubing and fuel tanks. So, this is one box from a really awesome friend, and I believe he's even a customer of mine, Don. And so he sent me one of these tanks, which is really cool. Now, it's funny because my buddy Jeremy had just showed me a link to these tanks on Amazon, and I was curious about them, and now I have one. And to me, it looked like the one on Amazon, it looked like these are actually designed and made for gas operation, and I wasn't quite sure. So I've been looking at this for the last 24 hours since this stuff has arrived here, and it's just kind of a strange setup where it's automatically got 3 fittings, and this one here is got a line that goes straight down into the tank. Well, it's like, what the hell is that for when you've got the fuel clunk that, you know, supplies fuel to the tank here? So I don't really understand their methodology for this. Maybe a gas engine is set up much differently than a glow engine. So this is going to have to be, this line that goes straight down here is going to have to be plugged somehow. Either here or preferably there, I guess. I don't know. Plugged. And then this one used as the vent, or the from the exhaust. So this is an interesting thing, so that's cool. And then of course he sent me a whole bunch of fuel tubing, which is awesome because it's like I go through fuel tubing so often. And he sent a couple of other tanks here, Dubro, and I think this is a Sullivan. No, this one says it's a Hayes tank. Yeah, I remember these old Hayes tanks. So this is freaking awesome. So now I've got more ways to continue running my engines. And I didn't mean to take that out of frame. And he sent me this Hanger 9 fuel pump, which, I mean, anybody that's, because I exclusively used hand crank fuel pumps. I don't do the battery pump thing at all. And so this is sweet as hell. And it's brand new. I got a nice new fuel pump, because over time they do wear out and they start getting really leaky and stuff. And I mean, maybe you could service them, but if I got a new one, why do I need to service it? So Don, I want to thank you for all of these things. They will help me out tremendously in running videos the rest of the season and probably going into next year. So on the last thing that Don sent me here is a few weeks ago, or whenever he first contacted me after seeing that video, he told me that he'd been having he'd been having one of these engines, an RCV 91 CD engine, and it just wasn't running right. So you all know that I like to tell stories, so I'm going to tell the story that Don gave to me about this engine before I open up the box and take a look at it, because there's a lot going on with this engine. So the story with this engine is, first of all, Don purchased it brand new several years ago. He just says several years ago. I don't know what several years ago means, because honestly I'm not sure how long these things have been out of production. I believe that they were introduced into the market at around 2005. Now I've had one of these before. I've had the inline one also before too. This one has its, and I think it's interesting because this has a serial number. It says it's serial number 1425. Says these are made in the UK. World's most compact 4-cycle engine. RCVengines.com. I haven't checked to see if that website is actually still active. So Don bought this new, and he says he's got about 10 tanks of fuel through this thing, and it just doesn't run right. He says the idle is still horrible, and that tons of oil just pours out of the vent, out of the crankcase. Now he's tried several different glow plugs, Fox Miracle plug, OSF plug, a Gremlin medium heat plug, I've never heard of that, and an Enya plug, and none of the plugs seem any better in remedying his issue. Now, Don is not a novice He's been running engines for a while, so I don't know exactly how long, but it's not like he's new to this game. And he's been using 10% nitro fuel with synthetic and a bit of castor oil. So I asked him if he tried a different carb. I can't make sense out of what he typed me if he did change carbs, because I was hoping that maybe his issue was carb related, but carb related wouldn't result in, the idle issue would result in a carb, but wouldn't result in a lot of oil pouring out of it. And believe me, I don't recall when I had mine if it was just one of those gushers that had a lot of oil coming out of it or not. I'm not sure. He estimates that it's got 45 minutes of runtime on it. And he thinks it might also have had a little bit of fuel seeping out of the front bearing, which would be weird because, you know, it's a new engine. So, with all that said, so he sent this engine to me because the words he used is he was going to toss it. That's the exact words he used. And I was like, don't toss that engine. I said, send it to me and give me an opportunity to evaluate it. So that's what he did. And this engine is awesome. I mean, I went online before it even arrived and found instructions for it, and I printed them out, but they're so damn small that you can't even read them. So I'm glad that he bought this new, and it has all of this stuff. It's even got a complete exploded parts breakdown of the engine. So what I'm planning on doing is doing an initial inspection of this engine here on the bench. And it's got some Allen keys that came with it. Exhaust, which is damn near exactly, I would say this is exactly an OS or ASP header and exhaust. I mean, just look at it. So here's the engine. Sounds like I got some rain going on outside. That's nice. So let's put that aside. Let's get it out of the light and zoom in a bit here. Let's take a quick look at this engine. So, carb is freed up. I don't really see any evidence of any oil right now. Oops. But it's got this thing on here, that cap on the vent plug. I don't know how you're supposed to get that thing off. There we go. Waiting to see if it's going to just shoot a whole bunch of oil out at me. Why is that so hard to come off? Alright, so let's see. It doesn't have a glow plug in it. It turns over freely. I'm not seeing any oil currently coming. I mean, it feels perfect. So that's what doesn't make sense, is Don is not inexperienced at running an engine, glow engines. And if this one just doesn't run, it's like, and it was new, what the hell could be wrong with it? So the plan with this was that I told Don is I was going to do an initial inspection like I'm doing here, but I want to do a run first. I mean, not to say that Don doesn't know what he's doing, but it's going to be better for us all to see how this thing runs on the stand and give me a better idea of what we might be able to do. Something isn't looking right here. Seeing like almost looks like maybe this top cover is on backwards. Let me see what size screw that is, and I'm just going to take this top cover off. I might take the carb off also, because the only other thing I could suggest to Don was, you know, maybe the timing's off. Maybe they didn't time it properly at the factory. That's the only other thing I can think that could possibly be wrong with this engine. And this is a rotary valve engine. I apologize. I didn't explain that initially at all. RCV stands for rotating cylinder valve. So this is a rotary engine, very, very similar. Oh, how cool! I've got one right here. Very, very similar design to this, to the HP VT 21 and 49, which this is the 49. So the piston still goes up and down like that, but the porting, instead of having poppet valves, the sleeve rotates around the piston. So there's openings in the sleeve for intake and exhaust, which is basically the exact same concept as this, just packaged in a slightly different way. I mean, here they got the carb in the back, here this one's in the front. The drive mechanism is here. So that's the thing with that. So I'm going to take this top off here real quick because it looks like this cover is not on properly. Well, those screws are pretty darn small. Okay. Wow, there's a lot of oil up in the top there. So I don't know if you're going to be able to see this. Let me look how much oil is up there. So this one gets a lot of oil up top, it looks like. I'm hoping I don't move this gasket. I just want to soak up some of that oil because there's a lot there. So maybe you can see that sleeve rotating. So, yeah, there was a lot of oil in the top head here. Ah, the smell of oil. Like I said, I'm not going to disassemble this engine at all, but I want to see. Put it on there like that. I'll take the carb off because fortunately in the instructions for this engine they tell you exactly how to time it. Set the timing on this engine, and it's very simple. Let me just get these back on here and get that gasket all covered up. Yeah, it was pretty wet up there, that's for sure. So like I said, the only other thing I'm going to take off of this engine at this time is the carburetor, because I'm hoping that I'll be able to verify the timing of the engine. I don't know if I'm going to be able to prove it and show it to the camera here, because I'm probably going to have my headlamp on or flashlight and shine it in there. Because basically what you do when you set this, I don't know how I'm going to do that now. Crap, I can take this off and still look in there, but you have to still set the piston at top dead center, which hopefully there's a scribe mark on the collet that shows top dead center. And then, I don't know how many ports are on that. If it's just a single port that's on this rotating sleeve, but you want like 50% of the opening of the port to be shown here and 50% to be shown here. But it only matters if that's a top dead center. So I need to go and pause this video real quick so I can go grab my flashlight and get my magnifier on. Okay. Well, first of all, before we do that, let's check and see here. I don't see a mark on that. Let's see how this thrust washer is retained. Boy, it's got a long crankshaft. Oh, okay. It's got a Woodruff key. So that's usually a good sign. It usually means either top dead center is there or at the bottom. So it's like, how do you know for sure? So I'm just looking. Okay, I see the port coming. So I'm seeing the port open here now. Well, I don't know if you're going to be able to see that or not. And there it's closing now. So, alright, so I don't know if you're going to be able to see this or not. I've got it set so that I see a portion of the opening of the port there and a portion of the opening of the port there, which is what they say to do. And this Woodruff key, I don't know if that light makes it any better or worse, is at bottom dead center. Now I believe on OS engines, bottom dead center with the Woodruff key usually indicates top piston at top dead center, because obviously I can't see the piston moving. through the exhaust ports, because even though the piston is moving up and down, the cylinder sleeve is rotating, so you can't really ever see the piston. And it just went on to compression there. That's the thing that's really weird, is it felt like it's going on to compression and there's not even a glow plug in there. So let's put a glow plug in here. I mean, it literally feels like pretty solid compression there without a plug even installed. I can only imagine that I'm probably not going to be able to turn this thing over by hand like that when I put a OSF plug in here. Ugh. Yeah, man, that's pretty rough. Pretty freaking tight. Okay, so there we go. So let's look at this. It's coming into compression. Well, it felt weird there. Okay, so here the Woodruff key is at 5 o'clock, and it's just coming into let's feel. Let me just do this again. This is compression here. I'm trying to figure out how many revolutions of the shaft results in compression, a compression stroke. Obviously it seems like it would be 4 theoretically since it's a 4-stroke, but I don't know what the ratio is of crankshaft turning to valve turning. So right now I've got this set it basically at bottom dead center, and our ports I'm seeing openings in both sides of our ports. Let me just go. I feel something here about 9 o'clock. Doesn't feel like compression. Yeah, now I'm coming into compression at 8 o'clock. And it went over to about 4 o'clock. And it's still giving me compression. Now it's free. And it started to feel like compression right around 10 o'clock. 9, it's strong. And I don't know if you can see what I'm doing here or not. Oh, that's really strong there at 9 o'clock. All I can say is I don't see an issue with this engine. I mean, it's got strong compression. It's not damaged. It appears, from what I can tell, that it's timed right. So that leaves us with what the hell is wrong with the engine. What isn't right with the way it runs. So we're not going to know until I get this thing out on the stand and give it a shot. So that's what I'm going to do. And the other thing that Don said in his emails is he said, look, I ran the same prop that you ran, which I don't remember what that prop size was at this moment. I'd have to go back and look. Don't remember what prop that was, but I'll probably, if I still have that same prop, which I'm sure I do, I'll run that also and just see what happens. I mean, I can also do my initial carb setup on here. Doesn't have a throttle stop screw. Big surprise. That was eliminated in the 90s, late 90s it seems, for whatever reason. But anyway, so that's the plan with this engine. It's going to get on the stand first. I'll see if I can get any determination as to what might possibly be wrong with it. Maybe just have better luck. I don't know. We'll see. And then I'll probably have to do a look inside and investigate what looks like. It'll be fun just to look inside the engine. I mean, because I've never disassembled one of these for the video, so that would be interesting to do. I mean, I've disassembled one of these on video before, and it's rather simple. This has basically the exact same construction where you've got a 2-piece crank shaft. Like this is a split crankcase where it's held in place by 6 screws. It's almost identical to that HP. The lower half comes off, all the guts stay in there, the upper part comes out. The only thing I don't know is, I don't know. Just never taken one of these apart, so it'll be fun to do. So that's what we're going to do. If I can get it running really well, then I guess maybe we don't need to take it apart. I wanted to look at this also. I don't want to lose that Woodruff key, but I wanted to see. So it's got a sealed bearing, rubber sealed bearing. And I think I still see evidence of grease. You know, maybe, I'm not saying for sure, Don, but maybe the issue with this engine is that, who knows, maybe the rear bearing is fully rubber sealed. Maybe this front bearing is fully rubber sealed on both sides, which obviously wouldn't be a good thing, because if you think about it, if you got a rubber sealed bearing on the front and the rear is rubber sealed, where is the fuel coming in? The fuel's coming in from here, so I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out if that could result in a whole lot more oil and fuel, or oil coming out of the crankcase vent. I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. But anyway, so that's our episode for today. There'll be further videos on this engine upcoming.